Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to do a video today covering the Michael Flynn case. The reason why I'm going to cover this one is because former President Obama recently came out of hibernation and once again is sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. Recently, Attorney General Barr announced the DOJ would be dropping its case against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. He had pled guilty to one count of lying to the FBI during an investigation. Former President Obama told his former aides, "Our basic understanding of the rule of law is at risk." He explained there is no precedent that anybody can find someone who has been charged with perjury just getting off scot-free. And when you start moving in those directions, it can accelerate pretty quickly, as we've seen in other places. President Obama, or former President Obama, is correct in that. The problem is Michael Flynn was not charged with perjury. He was charged with lying to the FBI. It's a much lesser charge in the grand scheme of things, especially given that the lie was immaterial to any ongoing investigation at the time. It's actually come to light that Michael Flynn wasn't even supposed to be underneath investigation or part of an investigation at all during that time period. The FBI had decided to close an investigation into Flynn January of 2017. The disgraced former FBI agent Peter Strzok, probably butchering that name, he's the same agent who told his former lover, FBI attorney Lisa Page, that the FBI had an insurance policy against Trump becoming president. He intervened to keep the case against Flynn open in January of 2017. Then President Obama asked Director James Comey, not long after the investigation was continued, he asked former Director James Comey about the Flynn-Kislyak communications. This was a series of supposedly nefarious calls between Michael Flynn and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Director Comey avoided standard FBI White House protocol to interview both Director Andrew McCabe and avoid informing Flynn of his rights. So basically, Flynn had no idea that he was underneath investigation at this time. From my basic understanding, that is entrapment. The agents who interviewed Flynn even stated that they believed he was not lying during his interview. Notes between upper FBI officials at this time stated, "What is our goal? A truth or admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired?" Flynn eventually pled guilty to lying. This was in large part because the FBI was threatening to prosecute his son if he did not. So that's blackmail. This is a major scandal. The FBI entrapped and blackmailed Michael Flynn because of pressure from high-ranking politicians and because of high-ranking FBI officials' allegiance to a political party and not to the rule of law. They thought this would ensure the case of Trump collusion. Basically, from the faked Carter Page Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant to this insane prosecution of Flynn, our most powerful law enforcement agencies in the nation violated every protocol meant to keep them and our government from legally abusing U.S. citizens. All because they believe they were morally right in doing so. Now, this is the absolute best case scenario, and it's not the scenario that I believe. The scenario that I believe is that their actions were based on a much more corrupt agenda. I think after finding no evidence at all of collusion between Trump and Russia, our political and law enforcement agencies at the very top decided that the Trump administration had to be destroyed regardless of if they were guilty of collusion or not. I base my conclusions on the highly biased individuals who have continued to try and disrupt our president and his administration, and the biased individuals who were at that time in charge of our law enforcement agencies, the FBI and the CIA. I also base that off of the fact that they wiretapped President Trump's tower, which to me, that screams Watergate, and the fact that that's not being investigated and prosecuted right now is a tragedy. Former President Obama claims that we are on a slippery slope, and I have to agree with that, but not for the same reasons. I believe that we are on a slippery slope because Obama and the Democrats have politicized and continue to politicize our law enforcement agencies and other agencies within the government, such as the IRS, to attack and destroy political opponents because they have differing views than the Democrats do, or because they have a different agenda than the Democrats do. This farce of a prosecution, the repeated attacks and scandals by the Democrats against the duly elected president and his administration and the supporters that they have should be a very stark warning and an alarm to every American citizen on how corrupt and biased and disconnected our ruling elite among the Democratic Party have become. This is something we should all be seriously worried about. This is something we should all be fighting against. That's just my 2 cents on this particular topic. I recently read an article this morning saying that the judge is not going to throw out the prosecution against Michael Flynn, so we will have to wait and see what happens with that. Hopefully, this man who was entrapped and blackmailed into first lying and then pleading guilty to lying to the FBI is exonerated and let go about his business. So that's my 2 cents. Y'all have a great one. If you like my videos, please like and share, tell your friends. Getting followers is always good. Have a good one.